Howdy folks, it's Adriel the Hunting Gear Guy. I just wanted to give you guys a real quick look at this Kodiak Defense rail that they've got on top of this SKS here. This enables you to run an optic like this low red dot so that you can easily acquire targets, and it works just a little bit better than the iron sights. So let's take a closer look at it. Now this rail installs on two places. The first is at the front here. It's got a pin that pushes through on this where the rear sight would normally be. The second spot is at the back here with this Allen key. So this Allen key is designed to be loosened off so you can take this apart and clean the bolt every once in a while. That's especially important because a lot of people shooting 7.62 by 39 are shooting corrosive ammo, and corrosive ammo means that you have to clean your rifle out right after getting back from the range. So if you dislike the short sight radius of the SKS, there are a couple of different options. You can get a couple of sight systems that kind of screw onto the back. You can get the receiver dust cover mounted scopes. This is one of the more sturdy scope mounts that you can get out there though, and it does keep it decently low so that you can still use it with a red dot and you don't have like a complete chin weld. You don't have a cheek weld either. Like this rifle is designed still to keep your face really low, but it's not terrible running a nice low mounted red dot on top of this thing. So it's decent for that kind of stuff, and it makes this thing a lot more fun to shoot because with a red dot it's pretty much just point and click on rocks and boulders and that kind of thing at 100 yards. So lots of fun at gravel pits and that kind of thing. I think that's what the SKS is really meant for anyways, is just a real fun gun to shoot.
Now the SKS 101 comes in a basic box. Just inside you'll find the rail itself is aluminum and it's anodized black. The hardware in a nice little bag there, and some instructions just to refer back to. Now for just a closer look at the rail itself, it's got an integrated shell deflector just cut out on the bottom there. And it's pretty long, but that gives a lot of space for mounting. We've got mounts forward and back, and it allows us to tilt it off. Before installing, make sure you remove your magazine and check the chamber to make sure that you're working on an empty gun. Next step, you'll need to grab some pin punches, and we're going to need to drive out this pin on the rear sight. We're going to use a 1/16 punch. And just carefully knock that pin out. And there's the pin that was removed from that rear sight. Kind of a little guy. Next we're going to remove that rear sight. Get a flat-headed screwdriver and just kind of pry in towards that bit on the rear sight. You might need to tap it with a hammer, or it might just come right out. It should be pretty close. I'm just covering it right now because it is under spring pressure and I just don't want anything to go flying out. Next, let's go to the rear of the rifle and disassemble it. So pull your takedown lever up, kind of wiggle it to the back, and remove your dust cover, bolt, and all that kind of stuff. Now we're going to need to remove this rear takedown lever, and you can see it's got kind of like a button on it that's holding it in there. There's a couple different ways of doing this. One is driving that button out by using a hammer, and if that doesn't work, you can always Dremel it off to get that takedown lever out. Here you can see me trying to punch the pin out. I eventually had to just grind it off. I couldn't manage to get it off there. But there goes the takedown lever, and now we're ready to reinstall the bolt and bolt carrier, so they're going to go back in there. Make sure it's all the way forward, and then go ahead and loosely put your dust cover on. Now we're going to need to start with the front there and get it in first. So you might need to push it on there or angle it in until it gets in. It can be a little bit tight. You want it to be tight, right? So that your rail is going to be solid on that SKS. Next, we're going to push a pin back in to that rear sight. Now we're going to go ahead and install the rear pin. We've got that wave washer sitting on the back on the bolt that we're going to put through. Once you've got the rail down, we're just going to push that guy in there, and then once it's close, start screwing it in so that you catch the threads and pull it in there. Now, it doesn't need to be like He-Man tight or anything like that, but because it's got a really tight fit with the rail and that cover. Towards the front, you can install a set screw that's going to just provide some extra tension there. And there's going to be a binding one that you can throw in on top of it if you want it to be extra steady. And here I'm just installing that second set screw. Kind of acts like a jam nut kind of a thing, just to make sure that nothing's going to get loose in there. Test the functionality of the bolt to make sure that nothing's catching or anything like that. I'm locking the bolt to the rear because I'm using a Tapco style magazine with this. Now that we have that rail cover over the top, we won't be able to load with stripper clips. And the most important thing, once you've got this rail, is to install a red dot or scope. I would really recommend something that sits nice and low on that rail. Don't forget to take your old parts and bag them up. I found that the bag that came with the SKS 101 fit all the stuff I needed to store nicely, so that this is, again, if I need to return it back to factory condition.